Hello there guys, welcome to another of my live videos, and today I'm just officially updating you on some more current transfer rumours and gossip. So if you do consider drop your likes, and if you do consider subscribe to the channel as always. So there is lots to negotiate on this video today, but I'm going to give you the latest news about Bruno Fernandes. Also going to give you the latest news about Patrick Emerick Aubameyang, and of course these are lots of other things to currently talk about. So more additional information now is updated in regards to Bruno Fernandes. Reportedly now Manchester United are preparing to put a bid in the coming hours for Bruno Fernandes. I do believe Bruno Fernandes' agent has travelled to England to obviously hold talks and that with Manchester United. I do believe we're probably going to put a bid in the excess of around £50 million. Obviously, reports did stem out earlier on this week saying that we was planning to put around a £50 million bid in for him. Obviously, we've not made any official bid as yet, but I do believe we are going to make an official bid in the coming hours for Bruno Fernandes and all that. And I do like Bruno Fernandes and I do believe with the situation with Paul Pogba, I don't think it's having any effect on Bruno Fernandes coming to Manchester United. So even if regardless of what happens with Paul Pogba, I still believe it's in Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's plan to recommend two new additions in that midfield. So Bruno Fernandes' proposed move to Manchester United is not dependent of course on what happens with Paul Pogba. But like I did say, it said quite a few weeks back that Bruno Fernandes' agent had travelled to the UK to thrash out a deal and that with Manchester United. I do believe Bruno Fernandes' agent has also held talks with Tottenham. He's also held talks with Liverpool, because obviously Tottenham and Liverpool have expressed their interest in the play. But actually it's coming from a ball of the Portuguese press. They are saying that Bruno Fernandes' agent has travelled to the UK, but we are preparing to put a bid in the coming hours. So I do believe sometime this evening and all that Manchester United would have currently put a bid in for the current player. Obviously it did basically say we're not willing to pay £70 million for Bruno Fernandes, and do believe this is the figure that Sporting Lisbon do currently want, but reportedly we're not willing to pay £70 million for his services. And I did basically say I think the fee seems to be the stumbling block at the moment, because it reportedly said earlier on this week that we've offered Bruno Fernandes a contract. We've offered him a contract, so reportedly it says we're willing to pay him around 5.5 million a year, which does equate to around 100 grand a week. It said quite a few weeks ago that we'd reached an agreement with Sporting Lisbon. Like I said, the personal terms had been agreed, the contract term had been agreed, but obviously no fee as yet come to an agreement. I do believe Bruno Fernandes has notified his representatives that he does want to join Manchester United. So I do believe his first choice preference is Manchester United and all that, and he has been negotiating with his agent about a potential move to Old Trafford, because I do believe he wants to leave Sporting Lisbon and all that. But it did reportedly say, a couple of days ago, that the board have got concerns about bringing Bruno Fernandes in. It reportedly said that, the board believe he's too expensive, and, we're not willing to pay more than £50 million on a player who, of course, has got little experience to the highest level and all that. So he hasn't really got the experience of playing to the highest level. But he did reportedly say, that Ed Woodward has said no to Bruno Fernandes. But for the entirety of the summer, we do know that Bruno Fernandes has been heavily linked to move to Manchester United. Obviously, we do know he's been one of our priority targets, but he is primarily an attacking midfielder. Bruno Fernandes' initial release clause is around £88 million. Obviously, Manchester United are not determined to go anywhere near that figure. He's under contract with Sporting Lisbon until 2023. Obviously, he signed this 5-year contract last summer. But I do believe Bruno Fernandes, if he comes to the Premier League, he will exceed expectation levels. I do believe he's got all the attributes to definitely currently succeed, because that midfield area is one of the pivotal areas, of course, where we do currently need to strengthen up. And Bruno Fernandes will rejuvenate the team, bring us them goals that we need in that midfield. And he's had a good couple of years in Portugal, with Sporting Lisbon. He scored 32 goals in all competitions last season and all that. But quite a few teams have inquired about his services. But Sporting Lisbon, haven't really been reliable, so far this summer. Obviously, they did a show at one point that he was going to be making a move to Manchester City, Bruno Fernandes. But obviously, it confirmed that Manchester City had withdrawn their interest. So basically, Bruno Fernandes' agent is looking for the best possible deal for his client and all that. But I think we've got reportedly pay him around £70 million, but we reportedly we're only willing to pay him around £50 million for his current services. But I think Sporting Lisbon's president, Federico Fernandes, he basically said there has been talks with Bruno Fernandes in regards to his future and all that. But regardless of what happens with Paul Pogba, I still think it's in the Sheena plan to bring two new additions in that midfield. So in the coming hours, reportedly, Manchester United are going to make an official bid for Bruno Fernandes. So we're not giving up on the pursuit of Bruno Fernandes. But like I did say, there has been so many targets on our current agenda, because you can still see the deficiencies in the squad. You can still pinpoint the areas where Manchester United are lacking, and we still basically do need to revitalise the squad. We do need an experienced centre half. We need a right winger. We need a couple of new additions in that midfield. Of course, if Lukaku leaves the club, obviously we're going to need a replacement for him. But there's only now 3 weeks remaining this current transfer window, so I do believe we have got to be more competitive. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has basically said we are still looking to sign 1 or 2 more players before this current window shuts. So this is what basically Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has said. But Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was recently talking about our ambitions for next season, and he does believe we will be aiming for further up than 4th, going on into the Premier League next season and all that. But like I did currently say, we need to see vast improvements going into this season, because last season was disappointing. We finished 6th. Of course, we didn't win many silverware, so we definitely need to see vast improvements, of course, going on into this season. Obviously, so far this summer, we have currently got 2 players on the board. Obviously, we've spent £65 million on Daniel James and Wan-Bissaka, and I do believe both players have got the ingredients required to become huge successes at Manchester United. And Daniel James and Wan-Bissaka, we have seen glimpses of them. Of what fantastic signings they've proven to be so far, because they have done really, really well in our 2 pre-season games of Daniel James and Wan-Bissaka. Obviously both very, very young, so they have still got a lot of years ahead of him. I think Daniel James still needs time to develop and all that, so I would say he's a prospect. And Wan-Bissaka, of course, I do believe he can be our fullback for the next decade and all that. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's worked out his transfer strategy for this summer. Obviously he wants to develop a squad of young, hungry, homegrown talents, and obviously wants to recommend young players in that can grow, develop and emulate of course in superstars. So Ole Gunnar Solskjaer believes he's following a policy that proved successful under Alex Ferguson. But Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was recently talking about transfers and all that. Obviously Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is very, very adamant that we don't need to sell players. He's very adamant that we haven't received any bids for our players. But Solskjaer has said basically there has been lots of speculation about players coming in, and of course players going out. But Solskjaer did say Solskjaer, did basically say, we don't need to overspend on our current transfer targets and all that. But like he said, very, very adamant, that we haven't received any bids for our current players. I actually believe we need to sell players to help us generate funds and, of course, rebuild the squad. Obviously, Paul Pogba and Lukaku have been both relentlessly linked to a move away from the football club. But obviously, based on the extortionate amounts we've put on both of them, this could be the stumbling block, both players are leaving Manchester United and all that. So still lots needs to be addressed in the squad. I do believe analysing our squad at the moment, it isn't good enough. I don't think it's competitiveness, like I said, regardless of who our manager is. Even if we had a manager in to the highest level, I still believe they would struggle with this current squad. I do believe top 4 will be our expectations going on to this season. I think our aspirations will be the top 4 in the next couple of seasons, if I'm going to be quite honest with you. But I may be proving wrong, like I said, but we want to get around 1 or 2 more players in before this current transfer window does currently shut. I thought it was just under 4 weeks, but there's actually it's bang on today. 3 weeks left now this current window and all that. But quite a few people have pinpointed out it should be sensible of our recruitment this summer. Actually, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer believes that Alex Ferguson transformed him of course into a winner. So Ole Gunnar Solskjaer of course is following Alex Ferguson's philosophy. But Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is very, very hopeful that he can get Manchester United of course back to glory. But like they currently say, so Bruno Fernandes, in the coming hours, we are reportedly set to make a bid for him. But I do believe his agent has travelled to the UK, which is very, very good. And I do believe last week Manchester United held more talks with Sporting Lisbon. But Manchester United have been in talks with Sporting Lisbon for quite some time now and all that. Big news now in regards to Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang. Now, I haven't updated you about Aubameyang for quite a while and all that, because not really much more has updated since I last updated you about Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang. Obviously, this stemmed out, was it around 3 or maybe even 4 weeks ago? It may have been even longer than that now. Obviously, this story, stemmed from Andy Goldstein, who was a presenter of TalkSport. He did say around, was it 4 or 5 weeks ago, saying that Manchester United, were interested in signing, Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang. I did initially say say, you know, there wasn't a lot of credibility in, you know, of Aubameyang, you know, coming to Manchester United and all that. So I didn't believe, you know, there was a lot of credibility in it. But this was actually, you know, stemming from Andy Goldstein. It actually allegedly said, was it around 4 weeks ago now, saying that, you know, Aubameyang had agreed a transfer to Manchester United. I do believe Arsenal are open to selling him, because obviously Arsenal themselves have got a tight budget this summer. You know, they've only got around, what, 40 or 45 million pounds to spend. I do believe Arsenal have got a couple of players on the board this summer, but I do believe they're going to need to offload a couple of their essential players, you know, to help them generate funds and, of course, rebuild their squad. But now recent reports have indicated out, saying that reportedly Manchester United have submitted a £62 million bidding for Patrick-Emerick Aubameyang. I do think Arsenal did say, you know, they want to at least, you know, recoup the initial £56 million that they did pay for him from Borussia Dortmund, you know, back in January 2018. And I do like Patrick-Emerick Aubameyang a lot, you know, especially during his Borussia Dortmund days, you know, I did really like him a lot. And I think he's exceeded expectation levels, you know, at Arsenal. You know, he's been there, you know, since January 2018. Arsenal paid a club record fee for him of around £56 million. I do believe Aubameyang last season scored 22 goals in 36 Premier League games. Obviously, he was the Premier League's joint top goal scorer alongside Sadio Mane and Mohamed Salah and all that. I think he's got 2 years left on his contract with Arsenal. Of course, he is 30 years of age as Aubameyang. But reportedly now, you know, we are seeing him as a replacement for Romelu Lukaku and all that. So if Aubameyang, you know, can make a move to Manchester United, you know, I would be happy with the sign of Aubameyang, because his goal scoring pedigree is absolutely fantastic. His goal scoring pedigree is absolutely fantastic. He's very, very good in the air. He's an efficient finisher and all that. And I do believe, you know, he would succeed at Manchester United. He has got that pedigree as a proven central striker, because he is primarily a central striker. Can play out wide as well, so I think he can play on the left. You know, he can also play on the right. Patrick-Emerick Aubameyang. He did reportedly say about 5 weeks ago he was willing to pay in the excess of around £70 million for his services and all that. But reportedly, you know, we've submitted around a £62 million bid for Patrick-Emerick Aubameyang. But he has done, you know, really, really well with Arsenal. I think recently, you know, he was actually, you know, linked to a move to China was Aubameyang. I think there was talks about him, you know, going to the Chinese Super League. Reportedly he'd been offered around £300,000 a week, you know, to go and play in the Chinese Super League and all that. But yeah, I think Arsenal are open to currently selling the player, but he has done, you know, really, really well with Arsenal. Like I said, 2 years remaining on his contract. He is 30 now, he's Aubameyang, so obviously, like I said, you know, he's currently maging up and all that. But this actually stemmed from Andy Goldstein, you know, saying that Manchester United, of course, were interested. We've put a £62 million bid in, according to reports from Italy and all that. But there's actually been quite a few tags on our agenda anywhere, you know, who could replace Romelu Lukaku at the football club. But Manchester United and Arsenal, of course, have done business in the past. You know, obviously, you know, Sanchez, you know, joined us back in January 2018. Obviously, he was involved as part of a swap deal with Mkhitaryan. With Mkhitaryan. Obviously, you know, Arsenal got Welbeck from us, was it around 4 or 5 years ago now? And obviously, you know, we got Van Persie from then, you know, back in 2013, was it, or 2012. So I do believe if we did get Aubameyang, if we got a deal over the line for him, I do believe he would make the similar sort of impact, you know, to how Robin Van Persie did, you know, when we got him from Arsenal, you know, back in 2012. And you can say, obviously, in Ferguson's last season, you know, that Robin Van Persie, you know, won us the league, you know, reflecting on the amount of goals that he had currently scored and all that. So reportedly, you know, Manchester United now are in for Patrick-Emerick Aubameyang. I do believe for Arsenal, I think since he joined them in 2018, I think he's made about 49 appearances in the Premier League and of course scored 32 goals. But I've always liked Aubameyang, you know, especially, you know, during his days with Dortmund and all that. But yeah, reportedly now Manchester United are in for him. But like I did say about Romelu Lukaku, obviously we do know he's been relentless, you know, linked to move away from the football club. Obviously, you know, he's for the entirety of the summer, you know, Lukaku's been speaking about his proposed move to Inter Milan. Recent reports have actually, you know, indicated out now, saying that reportedly, you know, recent reports have indicated now saying that reportedly, you know, Inter Milan are willing to meet our £75 million valuation, but, you know, with only, you know, bonuses included in the payment and all that. So reportedly now willing to meet our £75 million valuation. I think, you know, Inter Milan can only offer a guaranteed £60 million over 3 years. So I do believe, you know, Inter Milan, you know, do want payments to be structured, and the further £15 million is bonuses, you know, depending on how, you know, Romelu Lukaku, you know, does perform at the San Siro and all that. But I think, you know, what we've been demanding for Lukaku Lukaku. I think that seems to be the stumbling block of Lukaku making his proposed move to Inter Milan. Obviously, Inter Milan have tried to offload a couple of their players, to help them generate funds to meet that current valuation. But we've said we want 75 or 80 million pounds. Obviously, we're looking to recoup the money that we did pay for him from Everton a couple of years ago, or we're even trying to gain a little bit of a profit. Obviously, Lukaku has confirmed that he does want to leave the football club. Obviously, he did confirm this last week, because actually Ole Gunnar Solskjaer had held talks with Romelu Lukaku last week, and I do... He held talks with Romelu Lukaku last week, did Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, and I think, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was pleading him to stay at the club for one more season, because Ole Gunnar Solskjaer does want him to remain at the football club, but Lukaku's blatantly made it clear he does want to leave, because obviously since Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's been recommended in, obviously we do know that Lukaku has been serviced to requirements. Obviously Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's, first choice preference has been Marcus Rashford ahead of Romelu Lukaku and all that. So Lukaku obviously has increasingly become frustrated about this, so this is probably one of the main reasons why he does want to leave the football club. But like I did say last week, obviously, the Inter Milan director had travelled to London to hold negotiations with Manchester United and all that, to thrash out a deal for Lukaku. Obviously, Inter Milan had made a 2-year loan offer with around £9 million up front, with then the obligation to buy for the further £54 million, I think, at the end of the loan. But obviously, Manchester United didn't entertain this offer, so were only willing to let Lukaku go on a permanent deal and all that. Obviously, as well, Inter Milan have tried offering us, quite a few of their players as part of the deal for Lukaku, but like I said, we're only willing to let him go, of course, on a permanent deal. But Lukaku, I think if we can sell him anyway, I think it will be beneficial for Manchester United. I also do believe it will be beneficial for Lukaku himself, because he has initially lost his players in the team. But reports indicated out the other month saying that reportedly, Inter Milan had agreed the personal terms with Lukaku. They agreed a contract with Lukaku worth around 180 grand a week, but obviously no fee has come to an agreement. Obviously, Antonio Conte has identified Romelu Lukaku as his number one target. Obviously, reflecting back a couple of years ago, Antonio Conte wanted Romelu Lukaku. But obviously, this is when he was Chelsea manager, but obviously, he ended up making the move to Manchester United. And obviously, Lukaku is keen on playing under Antonio Conte's guidance, because probably believes he'll flourish under Antonio Conte's guidance. And of course, Lukaku is still obviously 26 years of age. He has been at the club 2 years. Obviously, he scored 42 goals in 96 games for the club in all competitions. He was exceptional in his first season, but didn't really replicate this form. Of course, his second season, Romelu Lukaku, so he was a disappointment in his second season. Of course, he has still got 3 years left on his... He has still got 3 years left on his contract as Romelu Lukaku, as you all currently know. And I think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, still knows how much of an imperative player he is, even though, he's initially lost his players in the team and all that. And obviously Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is working on trying to keep his imperative players at the football club, rather than, working on, bringing the right players to Manchester United who can elevate Manchester United forward. I do believe it's going to be hard for us to attract players to the elite level, because we're not in Champions League football for next season, and it's also going to be hard for us to convince our imperative players and that stay at the football club. But I do believe Lukaku does want to leave the club. I do believe Manchester United, do need to currently get rid of him. And like I said, if we do currently sell him, obviously we're going to need a replacement for him. We have got the likes of Mason Greenwood. Obviously, Mason Greenwood, obviously he's going to be assured more first team football, going on into this season, which is very, very good. So Mason Greenwood's going to get promoted into the first team going on to this season, as Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, has confirmed. Obviously you got Chong. Obviously, he's going to get more of a chance as well. But I think, Mason Greenwood and Chong are still inexperienced at the moment. We've got likes of Rashford and Martial in that front line as well. But I don't think, they've emulated that level as yet, and it's going to take them at least a year or a couple of years, to get, Martial and Rashford to that level where they do currently want to be. So if Lukaku leaves the football club, we are of course going to need a replacement for him. But I said anyway, if we sell Pogba and Lukaku, it will help us with our transition, it will help us with our rebuilding process, because I do believe we can generate around £200 million for their departures and all that. So definitely will help us with our transition. But yeah, there's been quite a few names mentioned who could replace Lukaku at the football club. There's been talks about Mario Icardi. Some people would like him to come in. His goal scoring pedigree is absolutely fantastic. I think he's around the same age as Lukaku. I think he's 26 years of age. Obviously, some people have been talking about Wissam Ben Yedder. I think Wissam Ben Yedder is a very, very good player, and I think he would be the right solution for Manchester United. Of course, based on his experience and all that, he can also score goals. He can lead the lines. So people have been talking about Wissam Ben Yedder. There's people talking about Dybala. There's been people talking about Moussa Dembele from Lyon, so who could, replace Lukaku at the football club? But now reportedly we're back in for Aubameyang again, and now reportedly, we have submitted around a £62 million bid for Aubameyang. I would say that figure is very reasonable in this market at this day and age, but actually, he's 30 years of age now, Aubameyang, so he's actually not aging up. But I think it would be a fantastic replacement for Lukaku. Aubameyang's obviously got the experience now under his belt in the Premier League. Obviously, he's been in the Premier League since January 2018 and all that. But like I did currently say, as I've been updating you on a regular basis in regards to Paul Pogba, like I did say, regardless of what happens there with Paul Pogba, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, still wants to add reinforcements, of course, in that midfield. I do believe actually our top priority is actually, to recommend a centre-half that's currently coming at the moment. Then I do believe, we're going to focus on that midfield. So with Paul Pogba, obviously we do know that he's been relentlessly, linked to move away from the football club. Obviously Paul Pogba's agent, Mini Raiola, did come out a couple of weeks ago, and he did basically say that Paul Pogba is in the process of leaving Manchester United and all that. Obviously, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's held talks with Paul Pogba in regards to his long-term future. But Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, I think, is doing everything he can, to try and convince him to remain at the football club. I think reports did say last weekend that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, has revealed that he has considered Paul Pogba for the captaincy at Manchester United next season, to convince him to remain at the football club. And I think, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has said Manchester United, Manchester United, has basically said, Manchester United can rebuild around Paul Pogba and all that, and he's basically said that Paul Pogba doesn't need to leave the football club, to fulfil his ambition. So Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has been speaking a lot about Paul Pogba quite recently, and he has praised Paul Pogba. I do believe he's also been talking about Alexis Sanchez and all that. Maybe Solskjaer believes that Sanchez, can currently improve, because obviously so far, Sanchez has been very inconsistent in that for Manchester United. But there's still room for improvement in Alexis Sanchez's game. Sanchez is going to be obviously, going on into this season and all that. But with Pogba, like I said, obviously, we're very adamant that Paul Pogba is not for sale. It did say it would accept a bid in the region of around, £150 million. Obviously, recent reports said last weekend that we'd initially risen our asking price. So reportedly says now we want around £180 million for him. So basically, we are basically, demanding double than what we initially paid for him from Juventus, back in 2016. Because obviously we paid £89 million for him. Obviously, he's our most expensive sign and all that. He's Paul Pogba. But Paul Pogba's blatantly made it clear he wants to leave the club. Reports indicated out last month saying that Paul Pogba, is seeking for a new challenge. He publicly admitted that he wants to leave Manchester United, and he even did say at one point he was even willing to go on strike, to force a move away from the football club and all that. So we do know Paul Pogba's been relentlessly, linked to a move to Real Madrid. Obviously, it has been linked to a move to Juventus. I do believe Paul Pogba's first choice preference for quite some time has been Real Madrid, and I do believe his likely destination, of course, has been Real Madrid and all that. But obviously, Real Madrid are not keen on a straight cash payment. Obviously, Real Madrid so far this summer have got 5 players in. They spent over £300 million pounds. Obviously, I think Real Madrid are in the process of trying to get rid of quite a few of their players, to help them generate funds, to meet that £150 million valuation. So I think. Excuse me. So I think Real Madrid are willing to offload the likes of James Rodriguez and Gareth Bale and all that, to help them generate funds, to meet that current valuation. I do believe Real Madrid are desperate, to include Gareth Bale in their bid to currently sign Paul Pogba. But Paul Pogba, could actually, now remain at the football club. We have seen glimpses of his best form, Paul Pogba. He hasn't been the player as we all thought he would have been, and all that. Obviously, he had 4 good years in Turin and all that, but he hasn't really replicated this since he did make the return to Manchester United. Don't get me wrong, I think Paul Pogba is still the right type of player for Manchester United, and in a way, I hope he does stay, but I did say it would be beneficial, of course, if he did offloading, because I think Paul Pogba's had a great start to pre-season and all that. He's had a very good start to pre-season to be currently quite fair, and Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, of course, knows how much the imperative player he is. But Paul Pogba's agent, Mini Raiola, has been in the process of finding him a new club for the last 2 to 3 months. Paul Pogba's still got 2 years left on his contract with Manchester United, with an option to extend it by a further year, and of course he's on £290,000 a week. I think it did say we are set to open fresh contract talks. Again, we may be willing to offer him a new contract, to try and convince him to remain at the football club and all that. But Juventus have set their interest up in the last 2 to 3 weeks. Obviously, Juventus have held talks with Paul Pogba's agent, Mini Raiola. Obviously, Juventus themselves have done really good business this summer. I think they've just got the lit on the board. Obviously, they got Aaron Ramsey on the board. They got Ronaldo last summer. They got Ronaldo last summer. They got Adrian Rabiot, like I said, Aaron Ramsey, Matty Stilitum and all that. And Juventus doing really good business. So probably more than likely, Juventus would have to offload a couple of their essential players anyway to fund the move for Paul Pogba. But for the entirety of the summer, Paul Pogba's been subjected to a lot of transfer speculation. Obviously, Paul Pogba, obviously his stats have been impressive though. He scored 31 goals in 135 games since he rejoined the club in 2016. I think last season he made 47 appearances in all competitions, scored 16 goals, providing 11 assists, and Paul Pogba's obviously won the Europa League with us and the League Cup, and obviously that came in his second season and that with Manchester United. But yeah, has been subjected to a lot of transfer speculation. But regardless of what happens with Paul Pogba anywhere, we still need some new additions in that midfield. Since Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's arrival, obviously, we've seen 3 players leave the club. Obviously, Valencia left the club after he served 10 years with Manchester United. Obviously, we saw Ander Herrera leave on a free transfer, so we're going to need a replacement for him. And obviously, we saw Fellaini leave back in the January transfer window. And look at our other midfielders we've got. You've got the likes of McTominay. He's inexperienced at the moment, but with McTominay, of course, he's going to get more the chance throughout pre-season. Obviously, he's going to be assured more playing time going on into the Premier League next season. So in that aspect, he's going to gain more experience. But like I said, we've got Matic, but Matic has been woeful in pre-season so far. He's had 2 bad games. Matic, for me, I think he's not getting any younger. Obviously, he's aging up. He's too slow. He's too ineffective in that midfield. You've got Fred. Obviously, Fred hasn't played on pre-season yet. He's obviously not going to be playing. I do believe he'll get his chance against Inter Milan, because obviously Fred's going to be linking up with the squad in Singapore and all that. But I'm still very sceptical about Fred, and you do know I have got strong concerns about him. So yeah, like I said, we've definitely got to address that current midfield. Obviously, there's been other midfielder, targets on our current agenda, as I've been updating you on a regular basis in regards to Milinkovic-Savic from Lazio. Now, I'll give you an update about him today on my first current video that I did. Obviously, reporting Manchester United, I've obviously submitted around the £72 million bid for him. I think this got confirmed, was it last week? Saying that we put around the £72 million bidding for him, because it was actually stemming from Sky in Italy, saying that we're interested in the player. I do believe it was also stemming from Damasio, who's a very reliable Italian journalist, especially in relation to Manchester United. And when it does come to our transfers, and even he said Manchester United are in for him, we'll reportedly put around £72 million bidding for him. Obviously, more than likely, this bid is going to be turned down, so Lazio will entertain this offer, because I do believe, Lazio wants somewhere in the region of around £90 million. So more than likely, we're going to have to pay an extortionate amount for Milinkovic-Savic. Obviously, I think maybe his move to Manchester United is dependent on what happens with Paul Pogba. So he allegedly said the other week would only willing to get a deal finalised for Milinkovic-Savic, of course, and if Paul Pogba does currently leave the football club. I think we've been relentlessly linked to a move linked to a move with Milinkovic-Savic. I think, last summer and all that, I think we was also in for Milinkovic-Savic. I think last summer, actually, Lazio wanted around £108 million. Obviously, so initially looking at it now, Lazio have lowered their current asking price. I think, Milinkovic-Savic had a new deal last October, so he's in the contract with Lazio until 2023 and all that. And I think, actually, the other week that Lazio's, Manchester United had been in talks with Lazio. I do believe Milinkovic-Savic's agent and all that. I think Milinkovic-Savic's agent had actually been in the UK the other week, and I think Manchester United have also held talks there with him. But I do believe was in for him under Jose Mourinho, and I do believe we're scouting the player. So Milinkovic-Savic is primarily an attacker. He's primarily, I think, a central midfielder, so he's mainly box-to-box midfielder. Or is he an attacking midfielder? Not too quite sure. But 24 years of age, of course, he is Serbian and all that. Obviously, for Lazio, he's been there 4 years. He scored 31 goals in 138 games. So he has proven in the majority of his 4-year period with Lazio that he can score goals, he can create chances. I know he's been inconsistent, supposedly, in the last 5 or 6 months, but reportedly, Manchester United have, reportedly, been in for the current player. But he's under contract, like I said, with Lazio until 2023 and all that. But talks are still, currently going on about him. So I've identified him as a possible replacement for Paul Pogba. Obviously, with Sean Longstaff, like I did say about him, I'm very, very sceptical about Sean Longstaff, very sceptical about now Sean Longstaff, coming to Manchester United. If I'm going to be quite honest with you, obviously, Newcastle have indicated outright not for sale. They've indicated outright not for sale. Reportedly, Newcastle now do want in the region of around £50 million if they're willing to offload the player. I do believe this is too extortion for Manchester United, because I'm very, very sceptical that Manchester United, of course, are going to pay this amount for Sean Longstaff. Obviously, the other week it did say Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, instructed Manchester United to get a deal over the line for Sean Longstaff. It didn't literally say that we value Sean Longstaff from between 18 to £20 million, and basically the Newcastle are demanding more than double that. So from a Newcastle perspective, they're basically saying that Sean Longstaff is committed to the club. I thought initially, we had been given a boost in our pursuit of Sean Longstaff following the departure of Rafa Benitez, but he did confirm the other week from Sky Sports saying that we'd held high level talks with Newcastle about Sean Longstaff. It did basically say we was planning to put around a bidding of around £30 million, but he did confirm no official bid has been made by Manchester United to Newcastle for Sean Longstaff. But I do believe now we've withdrawn our interest, or we are going to currently withdraw our interest, because I do believe we're not willing to pay around £50 million for his services. But Sean Longstaff he's still in experience. He has got a bit of experience under his belt. Obviously, he made his senior debut for Newcastle in December of last year and all that. And I think he thrived under Rafa Benitez's guidance. He did put some good performances in, and I think reflecting on his impressive performances, he'd been given a new contract by Newcastle, so he's under contract with them until 2022, because he did sign a 4-year contract, was it last year? But I don't think he played the last couple of months of last season, due to a knee ligament injury he had sustained back in March, and I still believe he is recovering from this current injury. But 21 years of age, plus he's British, and obviously Ole Gunnar Solskjaer wants to recruit British talents to Manchester United this summer. But I do believe now probably Sean Longstaff, of course, is going to be out of the equation. Obviously, there was talks the other week about Saul Niguez, from Atletico Madrid. Obviously, we identified him as a potential replacement for Paul Pogba. So like I said, there has been a lot of midfielders on our current agenda. As I did give him the update last night about Giovanni Lo Celso from Real Betis, it still says Manchester United are in for him. I do believe Tottenham are also in there for him. I think for the majority of the summer, or should I say for the entirety of the summer, obviously Tottenham have been in there for Giovanni Lo Celso. They've held talks have been ongoing between Tottenham and Real Betis over quite some time. I do believe Giovanni Lo Celso's preference is actually a move to Tottenham. I think Giovanni Lo Celso has handed in a transfer request to Real Betis. He's notified Real Betis that he does want to leave, and I think actually Real Betis have come to accept the fact that he does currently want to leave. And I think the main factor reason why Giovanni Lo Celso wants to leave Real Betis, because obviously he wants to be in Champions League football. But I do believe Real Betis do want in the region of around £70 million if they're willing to offload Giovanni Lo Celso. Obviously indicated out, was it over a month ago now? It might have been a couple of months ago. Tottenham have obviously lodged a bid in for him. They lodged a bid in for him of around £53 million. Obviously, this had currently been turned down by Real Betis, because this was too insufficient for Real Betis. So they're looking for somewhere in the region of around £70 million. Obviously, Tottenham themselves so far this summer have got 2 players on the board. I think they got Tanguy Ndombele. Was it for around £50 million? If I can remember rightly, they got Tanguy Ndombele for. So obviously, that's Tottenham's most expensive signing. Obviously, they got Jack Clark from Leeds, but obviously, he's being loaned back to Leeds for next season and all that. But Giovanni Lo Celso has definitely not been one of their main priority targets. But it still says, Manchester United are in there for Giovanni Lo Celso. Obviously, 23 years of age. I do believe he's primarily a central midfielder. Of course, he is Argentinian. His initial release clause in his contract with Real Betis is around £88 million. Yeah, Real Betis have confirmed, they do want somewhere in the region of around £70 million. But last season, Giovanni Lo Celso, spent the majority of last season on loan with Real Betis, and last season was his first season with Real Betis. Obviously, Real Betis did get him from PSG. Obviously, they paid an initial loan fee. Obviously, there was the option to buy. Real Betis, did make the deal permanent back in April. So I think they paid a further 19 or 20 million pounds. So if Real Betis, do currently sell, Giovanni Lo Celso, obviously PSG do benefit from it, because obviously PSG do get a percentage of any profit and all that. But reportedly Giovanni Lo Celso has reportedly handed in the transfer request to Real Betis and all that. But only 23 years of age and all that. But I think reportedly if he does leave, he'll probably end up making the move to Tottenham. And as I have been updating you on a regular basis in regards to Harry Maguire from Leicester, while analysing, he actually, could be our third signing this summer, could Harry Maguire. Obviously, we do know, we are going to have to pay an extortionate amount for the player without a shadow of a doubt. Obviously, Leicester have confirmed they will let Harry Maguire join Manchester United or Manchester City, as long as, Manchester United or Manchester City are willing to pay a world record fee for him. So, obviously, Leicester are looking for somewhere in the access around that £80 million and all that. Obviously, we do know the most expensive defender in the world at the moment is obviously Liverpool's Virgil van Dijk, who, of course, Liverpool paid £75 million for back in January 2018. And obviously, you can't put Harry Maguire in Virgil van Dijk's calibre or level, because I said with Virgil van Dijk, he's regarded as the best central defender in the world without a shadow of a doubt. But as he updated you today, Brendan Rodgers has basically come out and Brendan Rodgers has reportedly imposed a deadline on any potential bids for Harry Maguire. So I do believe what Brendan Rodgers is currently saying. He's aware of Manchester United and Manchester City's interest in Harry Maguire, so he's aware that both teams have expressed their interest and all that. And he has mentioned about Manchester City, Man United, and Man City, putting potential bids in. What are you doing?
Till 20th of milk.
All right.
You got green lid instead of blue, but
all
to do. So old. I'm looking for a phone now for
Alright.
19th to 21st of August.
Alright.
£100 for 2 nights.
Alright.
You're not off for a full week, Charlie.
I am off for 5 days.
No, you're not.
I'm off 5 days.
You told me the other day you couldn't stand 5 days down there.
I'm going for 5 days.
You said you couldn't stay a week, you told me that.
I'm staying for a week, yeah.
I'd like to stay for a week.
Dad, shut my door.
Your tea's downstairs?
Shut my door.
Do you want your tea?
Yeah. Sorry about that, I was just talking about Harry Maguire. I do believe now Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has identified him as number one defensive tag. So yeah, this is what Brendan Rodgers says. He's imposed a deadline on any potential bids for Harry Maguire and all that. Basically, what he's saying, Brendan Rodgers, is we've obviously Man United and Man City have made potential bids and all that. And what he's basically saying is he's instructing Manchester United or Manchester City to hurry up and do the business. Of course, if Manchester United and Manchester City, of course, do want to sign them and all that. So I do believe actually Harry Maguire's preference, his first choice preference is Manchester City over Manchester United, as he did make this clear quite a few weeks back. Obviously, Harry Maguire has informed Brendan Rodgers. He's also informed his Leicester teammates that obviously he does currently want to leave Leicester to obviously rejuvenate his career and of course take his footballing career to the next level. But talks have been ongoing for a long time now between Manchester United and Leicester. Also, Manchester City have held several talks with Leicester and all that. Obviously, it did indicate out allegedly last weekend saying that we had agreed a world record fee of £80 million with Leicester for Harry Maguire. Said we'd pay £60 million up front, with £20 million in add-ons. That does potentially rise it to around £80 million. And he reportedly said he was set to allegedly have his medical with Manchester United on Monday, earlier on this week. So that did get proven that there wasn't any credibility in that, because obviously Manchester United have not yet, come to a fee with Leicester, and agreement on a fee, with Leicester. And I do believe Leicester City's valuation does seem to be the stumbling block of Harry Maguire, making his proposed move to Manchester United or Manchester City and all that, because Manchester United and Manchester City are reluctant, to pay what Leicester are currently demanding. But I do believe, analysing that, Leicester don't want to sell Harry Maguire. This is the main factor reason why they're demanding an extortionate amount. This is why, of course, they are, this is why they have priced him out of the transfer market, because Leicester basically, don't currently want to sell him. Obviously, reports indicated out this week saying that Leicester have found their replacement for Harry Maguire. He did reportedly say, they reached an agreement with Brighton. They reportedly agreed around £45 million. For Lewis Dunker from Brighton and all that. So obviously, Leicester are seeing him as a current replacement and all that. But I like Harry Maguire a lot. We do know Manchester United have already had a £70 million bid turned down for him. Obviously, that came out from Sky Sports the other week. But Harry Maguire is a really good central defender. He holds his line really, really well. He shows that ability to play out from the back. He's not very fast, but I don't think, that's currently an issue. I do believe Mike Phelan's also instructing Manchester United to get a transfer prioritised there for Harry Maguire. But just like I said, we need someone that can go alongside Victor Lindelof in our backline, and that's very, very imperative indeed. And, looking at it, we haven't had a world-class central defender, since we had the likes of Vidic, and of course, since we had the likes of Fernandes. And, looking at it, we haven't had a defence to rebuild on, since we had the likes of Vidic, Ferdinand, Evra, Neverland and all. And since that point, we haven't really had a defence to currently rebuild on. So I do believe that defensive area has been a problem, for a number of years now. But Harry Maguire's got the experience, he's well Premier League proven. Obviously, he has been at Leicester a couple of seasons. He's made 76 appearances for Leicester in all competitions. Obviously, 69 of those appearances have come in the Premier League. He signed a new long-term contract with Leicester last summer, so he's in the contract with them till 2023. Leicester only paid around £17 million for his services from Hull City. So looking at it from a financial point of view, if Leicester can sell him, obviously, Leicester, will make obviously, make a huge profit on the current player and all that. But yeah, like I said, a very, very good player is Harry Maguire. I think he is regarded as one of the best central defenders in the Premier League. He's only 26 years of age. He has still got a lot of years ahead of him. Obviously, City have been seeing him as a replacement for Vincent Kompany. But I do believe Manchester City are only willing to pay in the excess of around £60 million for Harry Maguire. But I do believe, he would blend in alongside Victor Lindelof in our backline fantastically well. Last season, we conceded 54 goals in 38 Premier League games. So that just proves the issues, of course, we have currently got defensively. And I do believe if we can get this deal completed for Harry Maguire, I think Manchester United are willing to offload one central defender, because looking at we've got quite a lot of central defenders. I believe we've got around 5 or 6. Obviously, Victor Lindelof, we do know how imperative he is, and I think he's going to flourish at Manchester United. I really, really do. I think he was vast improvements in his second game with Victor Lindelof. So I think he was disappointing in his first season with Manchester United, but I think in his second season he really stepped up to the plate. Did Victor Lindelof? Obviously, he dismissed speculation of linking him when we moved to Barcelona, because the recent reports did say that there was talks about him going to Barcelona, but Victor Lindelof, of course, dismissed the speculation. But like I said, so he won't be offloaded if Harry Maguire comes in. We may offload Rojo, we may offload Alex Tuanzebe, we may offload Smalling, we may offload Jones and all that. But we will offload one central defender, of course, if we can get a deal over the line for Harry Maguire. But I do believe anywhere we need to sell Rojo without a shadow of a doubt. We need to sell Darmian, because Darmian and Rojo have both endured difficult times at Manchester United. I do believe we can generate around 25 or £30 million for the departures of Matteo Darmian and Marcus Rojo and all that. So yeah, that's mainly everything to update. So the main part of this video, was to give you the latest news about Bruno Fernandes. Now, reportedly, we are set to make an official bid in the coming hours for Bruno Fernandes. It didn't actually mention in the media what the figure was. I do believe it's going to be around £50 million we're going to be offering, because it said earlier on this week we're only willing to pay £50 million for Bruno Fernandes. Sporting Lisbon has said, they want around £70 million. But I do believe this is going to be Manchester United's final bid or offer for Bruno Fernandes. But like I said, we've had a really, really good start to pre-season, as you all currently know. Obviously, 2 wins out of 2, 6 goals scored, no goals conceded. And I do believe, the youth have really stepped up to the plate, so far in pre-season. I think Gomez has played well, Chong's played well, Mason Greenwood and that's played well. I think quite a few of the experienced, players have been actually, disappointing, to be quite honest with you. We do know pre-season's actually, meaningless. It is meaningless, it's pre-season, but, I still think, pre-season, he's very, very good, because obviously, like I said, it gives the upcoming players, experience, of course, under their belt and all that. But I've been impressed with the young players. Obviously, Daniel James and Wan-Bissaka, like I said, we've seen glimpses of what good signings they've proven to be so far. Daniel James and Wan-Bissaka have done well in our 2 pre-season games and all that. But like I said, we've got a bit busier pre-season. We've got Inter Milan coming up at the weekend. Obviously, we're going to Singapore and all that. Inter Milan, I think, is at the National Stadium. I think it's 12:30 kick-off on Saturday in the UK, and I do believe it's the current Champions Cup. Obviously, as we go on, later on this week, we'll get more news about David De Gea and Lukaku. Obviously, David De Gea and Lukaku have yet to make an appearance on tour and all that. But obviously, definitely, they will be currently involved. David De Gea, obviously, didn't play against Leeds as we all thought he would have been. Obviously, he became ill. With Lukaku, obviously, he sustained a knock. That's why he didn't play against Leeds. Obviously, Luke Shaw as well, didn't play against Leeds. I did forget to mention. Obviously, Solskjaer did say prior to the Leeds game, he may not risk Luke Shaw, even though he had been training on Monday. Obviously, he had sustained a hamstring injury against Perth Glory in our first pre-season game. It did prove that the injury, what he sustained wasn't too severe, but obviously, he didn't currently risk Luke Shaw against Leeds, so maybe Luke Shaw will get the chance against Inter Milan. Obviously, Grant, isn't fully fit as yet. But like I said, you know, very, very good start to pre-season. But we need to see vast improvements definitely, you know, going on into this season and all that. But hopefully, we know we can see a better season, you know, going on to this season than what we currently saw last season. And I hope Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, you know, can take Manchester United forward. I hope to say he's got the abilities and the stature, of course, to get us in that commanding position. He was a great player for Manchester United. No, don't forget, for 11 years under Alex Ferguson, he did flourish under Alex Ferguson's guidance for 11 years as a player. He has got a bit of experience as a manager, you know, not really to the highest level and all that, but he knows the culture of the club. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, you know, he does know where the club inside out. You know, he loves the club, and he proven himself as interim manager in his first 3 months with Manchester United, because, you know, he exceeded expectation levels in that 3-month period. The results were good, of course, the performances there were good. Obviously, you know, we did win our first 8 games, you know, won 14 out of 19 games and all that, you know, whilst he was interim manager. Obviously, you know, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, you know, came in on the 19th of December of last year as caretaker manager following the dismissal of Jose Mourinho. Did really, really well when he's interim manager. Obviously, he got the job permanently on the 28th of March, and then it seemed to have all gone wrong since that point. You know, we only won two games out of 10. You know, when he did get the job permanently, you know, back on March the 28th and all that. But I'm still very, very confident that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, you know, can take Manchester United forward. But like I said, a hell of a lot of money's been invested into the club over the years. You know, we have though been playing catch up for the last 5 or 6 years and all, but a lot of money's been spent into the club. You know, we've had different managers with different philosophies and all that, but we've been a toxic club because obviously, you know, with being mismanaged. Obviously, you know, this is the main factor reason, of course, why we have been under achieving and all that. But like I said, I'm still very, very confident that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, you know, can take Manchester United forward and all that. But the main part of this video, like I said, was about Bruno Fernandes, as you all currently know. Like I said, now we are set to make our final bid for the player in the coming hours. Wanted to give you the news about Aubameyang. Reported now Manchester United have made around £62 million bid for him, and that's mainly everything to update today. Drop your comments, likes below on the channel if you do consider a subscribe as always, and don't forget the Manchester United Inter Milan preview should be coming up tomorrow and all that as well. So like I said, take care, God bless, see you all again very, very soon.